everybody, this is Lee from Poplar Studio. I wanted to show you some tips on how to do some container arranging, and I'm going to do a demonstration with the small porch pot that we actually use for the workshop series. But because it's easy and manageable, I wanted to teach you some of the patterns and then you can do them yourself. So in a workshop, typically we would have pre-cut greens ready to go for you, and what we'll do is the smallest to the largest, or the things that you're going to do last at the top of the pile. So I'm going to show you. I'm basically going to just flip the pile over and work from the back of the pot towards the front. So the first thing we're working with is noble fir. Some of the bigger pieces are called boughs and the smaller pieces are called tips because it's typically the tip of one of these branches. So I'm going to work from the back forward. We've pre-filled the pot with potting soil. If you already have a container that has soil in it from the summer, it's totally fine just to clip off the plants that you already had in there, because the roots that are left in there now, when you put greens in them, they'll hold better. So I'm going to work from the back forward. Typically, I'm just going to shove into the soil, and by the time that you've put the rest of the greens in, all of the stems will sort of help hold each other together. So I'm going to just add some of these guys. I'm going to make sure that I'm adding layers from the back to the front, and I'm also going to turn some of the branches in different directions so they're not all just flat. I'm also working, so that happens sometimes if I've got dry soil. If I've put water in the pot, sometimes they hold better. I'm just going to stab them a little lower. I'm typically working from taller to shorter, and I'm finding wherever the center line of this pot is. When you're arranging, one of the things you do when you're doing floral arrangements or greens is that you're thinking about, how am I going to view this pot? This pot's going to have a back and a front, and so I'm not as worried about this side of the pot looking great, which means that all of my nice greens I only have to put in one direction, which is really near the front, and I don't have to have them go all the way around the arrangement. I'm also making sure that I've got stems that sort of fan out in all directions, so that when I add my filler greens, these are already kind of there. The second layer I've got is the silver tips, which have more of a white in the background, and so when I flip them this way, it's going to add contrast to this base green. Okay, so now I've got 2 layers in. The next layer I'm going to do is white pine, and we'll see how I'm feeling about this guy. These stems come quite long, and so I don't need all of that height everywhere, but once in a while these little needles kind of give it a little bit more of an airy feel. I'm done with that. I've got my white pine done. Next, I'm going to play with my western cedar. This guy has a nice kind of flexible shape to him. So I'm going to pull off some of the lower stems. And I could choose to either go with a little bit more of the citrusy green or more of the evergreen. In this case, I like having some of that citrus green break up all the rest of the stems. So he gets to be in there. This is only 1, 2, 3, 4 kinds of greens, and it looks pretty good just how he is. Now I get to add some of my fancy greens. So we're going to try for some boxwood. And these guys tend to be shorter, so I don't really want a ton of them in here. And this is going to drape over the edges. So some of you who've been to a summer class of mine doing containers, we talk about thriller, filler, and spiller. And these are one of my favorite spiller plants that we can use for an evergreen container. These typically drape really nicely. And in this instance, I want it to go this way because I don't have a ton of drape over here. see some of that incense cedar. I'm pretty okay with that. This is mostly full. I'm gonna add just one more green. This is berry juniper. And I got a lot of cool little pieces in here, so I'm gonna split him up and use him. Apparently all my stems are hints. I didn't realize that until I'm talking now. We've got this great little berry here, that kind of silvery texture against the silver tip is really lovely. So that's pretty good on the greens. If you put a bow on this and put that in front of your house, that would look pretty awesome. It turns out I have some decor stems we're gonna put in here too, just to have this kind of fancy up a little bit. So one of the things we have is ting. This is gold ting. And this adds a little bit of height into the arrangement. And this, I can break my rule about my greens being the right height, because this is gonna add a little bit of extra height. It's not quite as visually strong because they're teeny little stems. So it doesn't really matter if I've got them a little bit taller than the rest. Next thing I want to do is add some pine cones, which are pretty naturalistic in arrangements. Some of these we just have pre-wired together. I want a couple right near the front, but I also may need a little extra height. So I had some stems cut from these greens that we've been using. And I'm probably just going to wire him around the top of one of these guys so that I have extra height for my pine cone, because they wouldn't normally be up high. Now I can do one of two things. I can either wire them to the stem or wire them to a green that's already in the arrangement. So we're gonna see if we like these. Up higher. I like it right in the middle of this boxwood. Let's see if I can get it. So that gets me 2 layers of decor. And then I pre-wired some shatterproof ornaments. There is a reason that we do shatterproof, because I drop things, it makes a mess. I'm probably going to focus right here, so I may actually throw my ribbon in first, because that's really where the focal point is. I pre-did this bow. We're going to do a bow tutorial another day. I'm just going to cheat and have it pre-done. And now this is again on a stick so that I can decide how far in or out of the arrangement that I want him. And I can get this all fluffed up. And there's technically a front and a back to this ribbon, so this is a little shinier and the back side's more matte. I'm going to twist it so that the shiny side's out. And now I sort of know where my center point is on the arrangement. I may just move them over a little bit. And then when I add my other decor, I'll know that I'm around the same piece. So we've got a red and a gold theme going on. So all of these I pre-wired, but this one I just cut a piece of wire a couple inches long, put it through the ornament, and we're going to twist it just like a bread twisty tie. Twist it a couple times, and that's enough. These aren't really going to go anywhere. And now I have this. This is what I used to arrange the rest of these. I'm mostly happy with the greens. I might tweak some of the decor stems another time, but I'm okay with this. This is quite a lot of greens for a pot. So what you saw is sort of beginning to end. It starts with base greens, then filler greens like this, and then the fancy finish greens. I had pre-organized some of the decor stems so they're ready to go. But this didn't take me a ton of time if I had all of the pieces ready to go. I think maybe like 10-15 minutes at the most. You sort of just have to play a little bit, give yourself permission not to have it be perfect. I know that's going to be hard for some of you, We used different greens that contrast each other, so there was some design intent with that, keeping the back of the arrangement that's not facing wherever you're going to see it taller than the front. So we've got a tall versus short, and we've got wider on the outsides than the middle. That's some basics of container gardening with the holiday season. We've got lots more tips and tricks for you, but that's a lot all at once. So feel free to let me know if you've got any questions. We're going to be doing some more of these videos, and hope you have a great holiday. Take care.